So I've been building up my GameCube collection over time here on the channel as I've been ordering more and more games online because we've been really unable to go to any conventions in person to search for these different games. But I've also been keeping my eye on different systems as they've become available online at decent prices. Look, the pricing around GameCube is getting out of control as it is, but I did spot this Spice Orange GameCube in the box online and I decided to pick it up. It actually came imported from Japan, and while this will only play Japanese region GameCube games, while we're here after we unbox this, I'm actually gonna open it up and make it region free, so it will be playing the US GameCube games as well. We're gonna do all of that here, guys, right after a word from our sponsor.
Today's video is sponsored by Aspire. Episode 1 Racer is a game you may remember from the late 90s. I remember playing for hours on my Nintendo 64, and now it's been brought to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with fully modernized controls, including motion controls on the Switch. Take control of a pod racer speeding through iconic locations like Tatooine, discovering shortcuts and secrets as you race to the finish line. You could even work with pit droids to upgrade your racer for acceleration or top speed. With 25 playable characters and 8 different worlds to race through, the action never gets old. Starting today, January 14th, all versions of the game are on sale. Click the link in my description to check out the Star Wars Heritage Sale with the Xbox One and Switch versions at 50% off and the PlayStation 4 version at 40% off with an extra 10% off for PlayStation Plus members. Once again, make sure you click the link in my description to check out the Star Wars Heritage Sale today. These sales will be ending on the PlayStation 4 January 19th and January 21st on the Xbox One and the Switch, so make sure you act fast. Big shout out to Aspire for sponsoring the video.
So we'll start here with the front of the box where we have the Orange GameCube front and center, and in the US we had 3 different variants for the GameCube in terms of colors. We had black, purple, and silver. When I was younger in the early 2000s, I had a silver GameCube. That was my go-to. So I'm still working to get an indigo one, and hopefully we can do that in the future here. In the US, we had a lot of advertising for different games, especially if like we turn this over, like just picture what you think would be on the back of this box, right? There'd be screenshots of different games. There'd probably be some marketing stuff on the back. On the back of this box, it's just a big GameCube controller. It's the Spice Orange GameCube controller here. This is complete, by the way, so this should have an instruction booklet in there, and it should have this controller and naturally the system itself. If we kind of take a look at the bottom here, we can see the GameCube power cord and then the controller. This is a DOL001 variant of the system, which means it should have that digital port on the back, so this little Eon adapter should work really well to test it. I just think Japan definitely had the better boxes when it comes to displaying, like if you're doing collecting and you want to put these up on the shelf. I mean, this on the front just has the GameCube system wrapping around on the top there, and then you can also just flip it around and get that GameCube controller look. So if you just go and collect the different Japan variants for the colored GameCube systems, you could just have them kind of lined up with different GameCube controllers or the system itself like front and center. We'll go ahead and open it up here and we can see right away we do have our instruction booklet here for the GameCube, and yeah, it's all in Japanese, so I won't be able to read it, but we do have plenty of instructions here to go through, how to plug it into the wall, of course. They got to make sure you know how to do that. And then we have the GameCube itself, which I'm not sure how this is being picked up in the camera, but this is a very vibrant looking orange. I really like the look of this Spice Orange system. We have our Nintendo EV cables there, the Nintendo GameCube power brick there, all of this in very, very good shape. Awesome. And then the controller, which is always the big question mark whenever you buy one of these. Wow, that is really good. None of the buttons are sticky. The logo is perfectly there. Sometimes this will kind of rub off. D-pad feels good. Oh, look, they also had a memory card in here. That's a nice little bonus. I think this is one of the 251 block memory cards, if I'm not mistaken here. It is. It's one of the official Nintendo ones. That's did not expect that to come with it. That's good. And then we have our system, which looks to be in really good shape. Up here, I'm usually concerned about this part because it's like the glossy black kind of plastic part, the jewel. I'm usually concerned about that being scratched up. However, this looks like it just has kind of some dust on the top here that would just wipe off. Eject button is solid. You hear that nice That nice click does not get stuck. Everything in here looks really, really good in terms of any kind of dirt or dust. Both the memory card slot doors move freely, don't get stuck or broken or anything. All the controller ports look good. And then on the bottom here, even where like a serial number is, looks fine. We have both rubber feet. The plastic pieces are all in order here, covering up the different serial ports. And then on the back, you can see we do have our AV and our digital AV out, which, like I said, means that this will plug right in and we can go ahead and test it. So I realize I have no way to actually test the disc reader right now because I don't have any Japanese GameCube game to pop in here. I just have most of the collection that I've been picking up so far, which are like the North American games. Obviously, we can see there it is in Japanese, but we can, I guess, pop it in to see if the laser moves and looks for the disc, and then eventually tells me it can't read it, of course. So it is spinning up. That's good news there. Also, it looks like they cleared out the memory card before they sent it. Sometimes it's really funny to get like a used memory card just to see what games the person was playing before. So changing the region on a GameCube like this, one that's been imported from Japan, is actually not as hard as I thought it would be. And after looking into it, it seems that most of the work is really just getting the GameCube apart and getting down to the motherboard itself, where there are 2 points that you connect, and it will then allow it to play some of these US games. Also, this will give me a chance to kind of look inside of the system to see how clean it is, and yes, it is extremely clean. Now, if you do take your GameCube apart, you can also check this filter here. There's like a little filter they have on the side. You can take this off and just clean it, by the way. You can put it under, I guess, some like the faucet or something, clean it and then let it dry, stick it back in. This will usually catch a lot of the dust that gets blown through the system. I mean, wow, this GameCube is really clean. I mean, the fan barely has any dust on it too. I almost wonder if the person maybe did open it up and clean it before they sent it out, or if it really just wasn't used that much. So there we go, we have our GameCube motherboard out. Taking a GameCube apart is actually not that bad, outside of having to use like one of these GameBit drivers, which I'll leave a link down below to an Amazon listing that has a couple of these in different sizes. And I recommend getting one of all the different sizes because you might need it for like Nintendo 64 or Super Nintendo stuff. It's good to just kind of have all of them at once. But the GameCube itself, it's put together and it kind of stacks in layers, and it uses a lot of the same screws minus the heatsink screws and the front memory card screws. So it's actually pretty easy to get apart and then put back together. So now let's talk about how we're gonna have this GameCube from Japan play some of these North American games. If we look down here at the board, there's a little spot down here. We have R5 and R6. And those will be different depending on what region the GameCube is from. This one, for example, we have R6, where that is missing one of these little components. We're actually gonna bridge those 2 points, and that will then take this and turn it into a GameCube that will work with North American games. Sometimes people will have switches, so you can either break the connection or enable it. That way it can be either a Japanese GameCube or a North American GameCube, and you can kind of switch between regions at will. I really don't think I'm gonna get into collecting any Japanese GameCube games, so I think I'm mostly just gonna leave it that way. I can always reverse it by opening up and removing that bridge, but now I'm just gonna go ahead and solder a tiny little wire there, and we'll reassemble it and test it. Okay, and R is now bridged completely there. Usually, I think I would have used smaller wire if I had some around here, but this should be fine for what I'm doing here with this project. Now I just have to put the heatsink back on, close it up just far enough to test it, and we'll see if it'll play Mario Strikers. Okay, so I put it back together. The lid is still not screwed down. It's just kind of sitting on top, mostly just because I want to just test it to see if it actually will work now with Mario Strikers. So we'll go ahead and power it on, and you can see right away the menu options are all now in English. So just bridging that point, again, makes it so that it will play these US games, but it also will change the language immediately, which tells me that provided the disk drive itself works, it should read Mario Strikers without any real issue. And then I should have a really nice looking spice orange GameCube that will play all of my games. So it's reading. There we go, Mario Strikers, look at that. It is really interesting to me because that's the first time I've tried to do a region change on the GameCube itself, that it's so easy. Like just bridging those 2 points with a quick bit of solder and a little wire will allow it to basically become a US GameCube at this point. I mean, like I said, the Spice Orange is up there for me with probably the best looking GameCube systems. I really do like the Platinum one though, but Spice Orange is right there. So the other thing I had planned for this, and it's really weird because this came from Japan, like imported from Japan, ordered it less than a week ago, and it's already here, whereas I've ordered some things from sellers in the US, and they're still not here. One of those includes the base player for it, so the Spice Orange base for the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy games. I ordered that, like, half a week before this because I was going around, I was gonna find a Spice Orange GameCube, and I had a couple that I was looking at, and that's still not here. So that will eventually get here. I'll put it on the bottom of this GameCube. It'll look really nice all together. It's just weird that this came all the way from Japan, and a lot of things, including other GameCube games I ordered in the US, are taking like multiple weeks to get here. It caught me a little off guard that this showed up so quickly. But I really like how this system turned out here. The region mod was not difficult at all. You could just opt for a switch, so there's 2 different points in there. Instead of bridging them just with like a little piece of wire, you run 2 wires off of it to a switch that you can move back and forth. You switch it to one side, it'll be the Japanese region GameCube, switch to the other, it'll be the US region. It's something you can do. I didn't really care to do that because I don't really need it to be a Japanese GameCube anymore with the collection that I'm currently building. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Is there a color that you really like for the GameCube out of all of the ones available now? And I am also still looking into some of the special edition ones that I think would be really fun to unbox and take a look at, because especially in Japan, they had some awesome GameCube systems released. And let me know if you want to see some of those here on the channel, and I'll see what I can figure out. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.